Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zachary Coop, and this is a lesson in breath mastery, teaching you to localize different aspects of your lungs so that you can breathe with your full breathing apparatus. So what I want to touch on quickly is that our breathing apparatus has a relationship with our mental emotional state, and we hold different areas in the breathing channel, which begins at the pelvic floor, and then it comes up to the third diaphragm in the throat, and you can even breathe up into upper diaphragms, which are known as the upper palate, meaning that the breath or the expansion that happens when we breathe happens in all these areas throughout this whole channel. And because of the relationship between the mind and the body, which is one, we hold emotions in the body as well as beliefs. So when the breath is not moving through a certain area, that means there's a certain blockage in something happening in the mental, emotional, or physical field. So learning to breathe takes the breath, which brings awareness or consciousness or energy and activation into those areas, bringing life into them, bringing awareness what that blockage is. And the breath is also the way to clear that blockage. So just by breathing, without having to do all the work associated with deep inner work, we can have a breath practice where we simply come in and breathe, and there's a natural balancing and clearing that happens. And this is the miracle of life, is that when we get a cut, there's a natural process that happens so long as we don't poke at it, that's going to heal of itself. The body has an automatic way of finding balance. So too with the mind and the emotional system. If we allow ourselves some time, some space to just breathe and feel, to meditate and relax, everything in the mind and the emotional system can process of itself without any effort. And we'll just sift into a greater state of being until we find balance. When we find that balance, the term in breathwork is we have a clear channel. The whole breathing system doesn't have any holdings, and there'll be great clarity in our mind and body and a good way of moving through the world. So with some simple breath practices, we can come into this level of balance or find greater balance or higher alignment with some simple breathing. So let's begin. In a seated position, please, if you will. You can follow along with me. We place the palms down, and I want you to, just for a moment, observe your breathing and which part of your lungs you're breathing into. Thank you. Now I want you to flip your palms up the other way, and then feel if you're breathing into a different aspect of your body. Thank you. So the difference is, and it will be more or less pronounced as you begin to breathe more, that when we place our palms down, we activate the lower lobes of our lungs more. And when we place our hands up, we activate the upper lungs of our lobes more. So I'm going to show you a series of mudras, which are hand gestures and body positions, that help to activate even more parts of the lungs. So we'll start with Gyan Mudra, where we place the tip of the thumb and the tip of the first finger together, and we place them both down. This helps with concentration, and it's going to activate the lower lungs, so it's going to give a sense of calming. So an invitation to do this now and take a few breaths. Tune in from mindfulness, which is awareness of the breath, awareness of your emotional state without any judgment, and awareness of your mind. Simply seeing your thoughts without needing to get carried away in them. Thank you. Second position, we take our thumbs and we place them into the palm, and then we take the four fingers and we wrap them around, so like we're hugging that little thumb, creating that fist, and we're going to place those right in the waistline facing down. And we're kind of going to not push up with any effort, but there's a straightening of the spine. Take a moment to breathe here and first feel where you are activating your lungs. this mudra will tend to open up the intercostals or the mid lungs, this area of the rib cage here. And you may feel that now, or you may have felt it before. In the final position, we're going to take those thumbs out and just make fists, and then put the fists together at the line of the solar plexus at the bottom of the ribs here. You're going to gently push the fists together, not so much that you're using a ton of effort, it's more energetic than muscular. And then you're going to breathe and tell me, or sense and feel, where that activation happens in the lungs. Really good. Thank you. So with this mudra, we can activate our full lung. So it'll move from bottom, middle to top. So the upper lungs, which are right at this top part of the chest, and even maybe perhaps you can feel it up into the throat, depending on the level of expansion there. Thank you. So continue breathing in one of these mudras throughout the rest of the channel and talk here. And just come into a place of mindfulness of your body and mindfulness of listening, which is a skill to cultivate that I highly encourage, is to be equally aware of your breathing and body as you're doing something external. So often we place our awareness outside of ourselves, and the energy goes all out into the world or out into a screen. And it's fine to use screens if we can maintain a level of internal awareness, especially of our breath, our mind, our emotion, and our body. And when we practice mindfulness in this way, we cultivate that capacity to be fully present, no matter what we're doing, whether that's an inner activity, such as breath work, or an outer activity as being in the world. One final piece, take your right hand and place it out with your palm facing forward. What's the difference that you feel in your body? So the difference, especially if you do a little squeeze in of the bicep against the chest here, is that this will close this lung off while this one is open. So what you can learn is to breathe with a single lobe or the other lobe. And this is some next level mind-body awareness of the lung system, which is such a vital system. This can also, of course, be done on the opposite side, and you can learn to activate your right lung or your left lung. It's kind of like when we learn these exercises, when we do them in their very specific nature and open them up in this way, it's like stretching. It's like when we just breathe, we have a conditioned subconscious breathing pattern. So when we learn to activate bottom, lower, middle, we know we're using the full capacity of our lungs. And if we were to do this before exercise or in the morning, we know that we've opened up our lungs for the day. It's just like stretching and warming up your body for the day. So breathing is something that's coming online in the mainstream because of its vital nature to our mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. So these kinds of practices are very simple. You can simply pull these mudras while you're doing anything in the world, maintaining that level of mindfulness of the breath, the body, the emotional system, and the mind, bringing in greater presence, and that'll allow greater intelligence of the energy and information that's coming through your nervous system, and your conscious mind will have greater access to it. So I hope you found these mudras helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. I will continue to post these videos, so subscribe and follow along as I continue to share my journey, my creativity, my teachings that I have to share from my inner work, and of course, many breath, movement, and meditation practices. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.